In May of 1787, we have a major convention in Philadelphia in Independence Hall. The Congress of the United States is going to authorize this convention to revise the Articles of Confederation. And when the delegates get together, they all many of the states are represented. Rhode Island is the only one not to go, but nonetheless, when they get together and they start looking at the Articles of Confederation to see what kind of revisions they could suggest, they find, you know what, this is beyond hopeless. Rather, what we need to do is basically replace the Articles of Confederation. So they already have exceeded their authority. They were supposed to revise the Articles of Confederation. Now they're replacing it. Essentially, what they're basically going to do, if it doesn't work, it's a failed coup d'état. And if it works, it's an overthrow of the government for the most part. So, they know that they've exceeded their authority. So what are they going to do? They're going to get the ultimate get out of jail free card. The way you do it is you have to get George Washington to sign off on it. If you get George Washington's signature on anything, you are good to go. It's the ultimate letter of recommendation. So George Washington is going to be elected unanimously as the convention president of the Constitutional Convention. And basically, Washington is just basically going to, if you were in my lecture class, you would see me do my Washington impression. This is my Washington impression. Ready? Did you see it? That's basically what it was. He just sat there and listened to everything. He barely said a word when it came to the debates. And debates there were major plans, some oddball, some others were definitely much more mainstream. For example, Alexander Hamilton is going to come up with a plan. You have to understand one thing about Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton was one of those guys that he was the smartest guy in the room, and everybody knew it. And worse yet, he knew it as well. We hated those people back when we were going to high school, right? And he would use that knowledge against anyone that he needed to. But Hamilton comes up with a plan that basically would create England over here. For example, a president who serves for life, senators that serve for life. It's basically the English system coming over here. Yes, he fought alongside Washington when it came to the American Revolution, but he loves the British system, and he wants it to be emulated or imitated over here. It's such an oddball plan that really most textbooks won't even talk about it. But there are two other plans that definitely are talked about. One produced by James Madison, and the other one by a man named William Patterson. James Madison is from Virginia, and he comes up with what's known as the Virginia Plan. Textbooks might even call it the Large State Plan, and it mainly has to do about the idea of representation. Basically, Madison's plan is going to be, say, representation needs to be cited by population, meaning the more people you have in your state, the more representatives you're going to have in the government. So therefore, there's going to be a lot of power invested into these large population states. So if it were in existence today, then Texas, New York, and California would be the most powerful states within the federal government. The problem is going to be is that the smaller states are not going to have a chance to defeat anything that the large states want. They're just going to get ramrodded down their throats. If the large states wanted it, then the small states can't do anything about it. So in steps a man named William Patterson of New Jersey. In his plan, we call it the New Jersey Plan or the Small State Plan, is basically to say, you know what, we need to keep representation like how it is. Each state under the Articles of Confederation has one vote. Well, why don't we have an equal amount of votes for each state? That way, large population states cannot use their power to take advantage of the small states. And so you have these two competing plans. Therefore, in steps Benjamin Franklin and Roger Sherman. Sherman's of Connecticut. Benjamin Franklin, as you probably know, is from Pennsylvania. And Franklin is going to push Sherman to suggest a compromise. And it's known as the Great Compromise. Another term for it could be the Connecticut Plan. And basically it's this. Sherman's going to listen to the plans of Madison and Patterson and say, well, why don't we combine them? Let's have a bicameral legislature. One house is going to be decided by representation in terms of how many representatives are in there, and the other house is going to be decided by equal votes. So what you're going to have, therefore, is a House of Representatives that is determined by population. So states like New York, Texas, and California are going to have the most power within the House of Representatives because they have the most representatives. Whereas we're going to have another House of Congress, the Senate, it's going to have an equal vote, and they're going to decide that each state is going to have 2 senators voting on its behalf. So that's what the Great Compromise is. So just to review. Virginia plan, representation by population. New Jersey plan, representation by basically equal votes for each state.